in my opinion, pink and black, it should be like a reward. Like pink and black are colors that anybody just don't like. Pink and black is just not for anybody. Like you wearing pink and black, you gotta be the man. You gotta be the boss. You gotta be the top dog. That's why I said Inter Miami CF shouldn't be wearing pink and black right now based on how they're playing on the field. Now, if they end up turning their season around and end up making the playoffs, then yes, bring back the pink and black. But as of right now, just white and black. That's it until they improve their play. And the question is, are they going to embarrass David Beckham on the national stage? Now, listen, David Beckham is in danger of becoming the Michael Jordan of MLS. The reason why he's in danger of becoming the Michael Jordan of MLS in regards to ownership, because Michael Jordan was a very good player historically and a very bad owner historically, based on how his team performed on the court, based on the players he drafted, based on the free agents he signed. Overall, Michael Jordan's players as an owner has performed poorly. And David Beckham is in that same situation. David Beckham was a very good player historically. And as of right now, historically, based on his brief history as owner of Miami, he is performing poorly. The players that he signed, they're not performing well. So that's why I said he's in danger of becoming the Michael Jordan of MLS owners. Now, you may be wondering, like, how about you give Miami a break? They're still a young team. They're still a young club. But guess who else is also a young club? Atlanta is a young club. It didn't take them long to get it together. Orlando is a young club. It didn't take them long to get it together. Nashville is a young club. It didn't take them long to get it together. As a matter of fact, I believe Nashville, they made the playoffs within their first 2 years of playing in the MLS. Austin is a young club. Look at them, they're getting it together. Cincinnati, they're a young club. They're getting it together. So you see all these other young clubs, they're starting to get it together. They got some team chemistry going on. They're competing. They're winning games. They're not losing. And then you look at Miami, it's like, what about you? There's no excuse. This is David Beckham's team. The MLS did not go up to the Igarin brothers to say and ask them to lead the franchise. David Beckham, MLS went to you. You are the chosen one for the MLS, David Beckham. Because this is your team. This is not about friendship. This is not about relationship. This is about business. Because there's no reason why Miami should be in the bottom of any conference, whether they're in the Eastern Conference, whether in the Western Conference. When it comes to traditional football, Miami should never be at the bottom. Now, you may be the type of guy, David Beckham, where you don't want to be controlling. You don't want to be viewed as a dictator. David, when the team looks bad, you look bad because it's your team. And not only that, you're a global icon. So people throughout the world are looking at you as like, well, he's a good player, but he's a bad manager. You don't want that to be part of your legacy, David Beckham. You want to be known as a winner wherever you go, whatever you do, you want to be known as a winner. Miami, let me tell you what you are, because I don't think you know who you really are. Miami, you're a sleeping giant. You are a sleeping giant in the MLS world. Why you're a sleeping giant, Miami? This is because the people, the city is ready to support you. The city is ready to do all they can do to make sure you're number one. The city wants you to be king of the South. If you've been following me since book 1 of my monologues, you're aware and familiar with me saying that Miami was a sleeping giant. Keyword was. In book 1, I said they are a sleeping giant. I said Miami is a sleeping giant. But I'm here to say this evening, Wednesday, June 7th, that sleeping giant that I've been talking about ever since spring of 2022 is now awake. Now you may be thinking, what makes Inter Miami CF a giant? And why were they a sleeping giant before? Well, even though a lot of Americans didn't know much about Inter Miami CF before the arrival of Lionel Messi, big time soccer players knew about Messi. Big time soccer players knew about Miami. And whenever it came to MLS, there was only 2 teams that the big football players ever talked about. 2 teams that they ever talked about playing for. 1, LAFC, which is a rising giant. And 2, Inter Miami CF. Inter Miami CF was sleeping because they didn't really tap into their potential before this Lionel Messi signing. They had an era where David Beckham was just trying to build a team full of his friends, a team full of his buddies. But the tide turned last week when David Beckham fired his close friend in Phil Neville. He didn't ask him to resign. He didn't ask him to step aside. You didn't hear about both sides mutually deciding to part ways. Oh no. David Beckham fired his close friend in Phil Neville. And this was the sign to me that David Beckham and the Moss brothers were ready to start taking this league serious. You see, before the rise of international Miami, the league was incomplete. You had Los Angeles. They're holding their own weight. They're doing their job out west. New York City. New York City won a championship, the MLS Cup in 2021. New York City has been doing their job. Chicago. Even though Chicago is at the bottom of MLS, Chicago has been trying with the record signings, the record sellings of Gaga Slonina and John Duran. Chicago has made itself known as a place that can develop global football stars. Chicago has turned itself into a place where it can develop the biggest and best players for tomorrow, the future stars of global football. That's what Chicago has done. And then you come to the 4th major city, the 4th major sports city in America, which is Miami, and up to this point, nothing. But now things has changed. The tide has turned, and Miami has let us know today. Actually, they let us know last week, but anyways, this month, Miami has let us know this month that they are ready to take this league serious, and that they are ready to be a major global brand. Do not be surprised when the next Sportico valuation rankings show up. It should be this summer. It usually is, I believe it's every summer. So it should be sometime this summer, either during or after the summer transfer market. Don't be surprised if Miami is top 3. Don't be surprised. This signing of Lionel Messi it's gonna be bigger than David Beckham. It's bigger than Gareth Bale. It's bigger than Pele. This is the biggest American professional soccer signing of all time. Now you may be wondering, how is this bigger than Pele? How is this bigger than David Beckham? Social media has a lot to do with this. Now we know Messi already has bigger and better stats than Pele and Beckham. Messi's known as the GOAT. But there's also the social media aspect. Because you see, it's not only traditional mainstream media that's promoting a player's brand. It's also average people like me, regular people like me, and regular people like you, the listener, who's either tweeting about Messi, hitting the like button about a tweet about Messi, watching YouTube videos about Messi. All of that has a role into play into a player's value and how big a player becomes. So now you look at MLS. What did this mean for MLS? Number one, MLS, you already became a global brand with the launch of Apple TV. Many people are watching you throughout the world than ever before. Now it's going to increase with Lionel Messi, not only as a player, but a guy who has a stake in Apple, a guy who has a stake in Adidas. So he's half player, he's half MLS player, half Apple TV owner, half Adidas owner, which is rightfully so. He deserves it. He put the work in. He deserves it. And this was the only way that he was going to be able to come, that MLS was going to be able to get him. This was the only way MLS was going to be able to match or exceed the Saudi Arabia 2-year, $1.2 billion offer. Now, some of you may be thinking, or some of you are thinking, Messi, he's past his prime. What more can he do for MLS? He's probably not even going to play that many games. You see, MLS is not bringing Messi in to lead Inter Miami CF to championships. MLS is bringing Messi in with the ideal that his presence in Major League Soccer will attract younger, up-and-coming stars to want to migrate from the English Championship League or Bundesliga 2 or La Liga or Serie A to come and migrate to Major League Soccer. Listen, this is one thing we need to understand. Lionel Messi coming to Major League Soccer is 10 times bigger than what he'll ever do on the field. MLS is not asking for him to do much, if anything, on the field, to be honest with you. This is about growing the brand of Major League Soccer. This is about promoting the image of Major League Soccer and letting the world know that MLS is a major professional league. The same way the Saudis are using Cristiano Ronaldo for. That's the purpose of the Saudi Pro League recruiting Cristiano Ronaldo. They know he's past his prime. They're not expecting him to do big things on the field. It was more so to promote the Saudi Pro League brand. Is it working? I'm not sure if it's working, because from the outside looking in, the Saudi Pro League just comes across as a league that just has a lot of money to get players. Saudi Pro League is not really known for developing up and coming stars like Major League Soccer. You don't hear much about up and coming rising stars coming out of the Saudi Pro League compared to Major League Soccer. At least I haven't. So this signing of Lionel Messi is bigger than what he will ever do on the field in Fort Lauderdale. It's bigger than what he will ever do on the field at the Miami Dolphins Stadium. Yes, I said it. If you think that every single Inter Miami CF game is going to be in Fort Lauderdale during the time of Lionel Messi, you need to start paying attention to sports business. Because it's obvious you don't understand how sports business operates. A guy as big as Lionel Messi, imagine LAFC coming to town next season. Because I'm sure everything is set for this season. But next season, LAFC coming to town to South Beach to face Lionel Messi. Do you really think that match is going to be in Fort Lauderdale? The same with LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy coming to town. And LA Galaxy is MLS's biggest historical brand. You think LA Galaxy coming to town to face Lionel Messi, Chicharito versus Lionel Messi, you think that game's going to be in Fort Lauderdale? You see, y'all gotta start thinking business. This is more than on-field play. This is business, exposure, promotion, growing the MLS brand. That's what this is about. And this is something that I didn't understand last year when I said MLS was going to revert back to a retirement league. I wasn't thinking about the business aspect of this. This is like 80% business, 20% on field. Because when it comes to on-field talent, the thought is that Lionel Messi will be able to attract younger, more talented players to help Inter Miami and other MLS teams grow. So speaking of Lionel Messi attracting younger, more talented players, I just want to call out every player that's on that Miami roster right now. You are auditioning for your job either this summer or this winter, because a lot of change is getting ready to happen on that roster, either during this year's summer transfer window or the winter transfer window in the off season. So the only two guys that are safe on that roster, in my opinion, the only two guys that are safe on that roster as of today is Joseph Martinez and Leo Campana. And maybe Mota. I forgot his first name, but Mota. But definitely a lock, Joseph Martinez and Leo Campana. Those are the only two guys who, without a shadow of doubt, their roster spot is safe. Lionel Messi has the ability to attract younger, high-level players that will help Miami perform well on the field. It will not be right for any of us to expect Lionel Messi to lead Miami to the playoffs, to get Miami from the bottom of MLS to above the playoff line. That won't be the right thing to do. Lionel Messi already put his work in. He already put his work in. So no one should be expecting him to be the best player on any MLS team or any global team, period. He was mistreated by PSG. PSG was expecting him to perform at a high level even though he's past his prime. PSG did not respect the legend. But guess what, Lionel Messi? You're in a league that respects legends. MLS is not going to demand you to be the best player on the field because MLS knows you already put in the work. MLS knows you're going to help them grow their brand. So the main thing I believe that MLS is going to hope, not really expect, but they're going to hope for is that you will have the ability to recruit younger, talented stars. That is the hope. Now that's just in regards to on the field. Off the field, MLS doesn't have any expectations from you, Lionel Messi, because they already automatically know that the brand, the MLS brand, is automatically going to positively grow. And when it comes to that brand positively growing, that means leverage, more leverage at the negotiation table when it comes to linear TV negotiation. Yes, I'm going there. Remember when I called out Fox? I have been calling out Fox just for their poor coverage of MLS, treating it like it's just some other sports league in a portfolio. When the MLS game is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, they don't broadcast it at 7 o'clock. They say, oh, we'll just put this to FS2. It's just another sports game. We still got to finish this racing game. You think they'll ever do something like that to NFL? Hell no. Now that MLS has leverage, more leverage at these negotiation tables when it comes to the next linear TV deal, because Fox deal is up in 2026. Now MLS will be able to finally have that power that it desperately needed to find a partner that will put MLS as priority number one, the same way Apple TV has put MLS as priority number one through the streaming. Now MLS will be able to find its linear version of Apple TV. Who those top candidates are right now, I don't know. But I do know who is definitely not. And that's ESPN and that's Fox. Because both of those channels, networks, they had their chance. They had their chance. And they didn't believe in the growth of Major League Soccer. They treated Major League Soccer as just some other sports league in their portfolio. They value women's sports and car racing and some amateur professional football league like XFL, USFL, the second level gridiron football leagues. They value them above MLS. ESPN specifically had a show dedicated to XFL. They specifically had broadcasting airtime specifically dedicated to USFL and always treated MLS like it was just some amateur league. So ESPN and Fox is definitely no candidates for this next MLS linear TV deal. It's time to give networks, other networks, a chance that's not so oversaturated with so much sports, that will allow MLS to be promoted at the same level that ESPN promotes NBA, the same way that Fox promotes NFL and college football. MLS finally have that leverage that it desperately needed when it comes to linear TV, because linear TV is still important. And even though, and yes, I did say that linear TV was dying in book 1, I was wrong. Linear TV is still very important, because linear TV networks, they're evolving. They have their own streaming portion, and they still have their linear portions. Linear sectors, streaming sectors. And here's another thing. Will the arrival of Messi finally cause the MLS salary cap to increase? This is something that I really hope happens, because the investment that's coming to MLS will be 10 times more than before. 10 times more than before. More investment, more wealthy people will be investing in MLS. As a result of that, the salary cap should increase. Am I correct? If those of you who are business savvy, let me know in the comment section. The more wealthy people you have investing in your league, the more money you should have to pay players bigger salaries. Then, when a guy like Brandon Vasquez, when his contract is up in Cincinnati, instead of him jumping ship to go to Europe so fast, he'll have a second thought. He would have a second thought. And if Cincinnati doesn't have the money that he wants, maybe his hometown, San Diego FC, will have the money he wants. And all of this will be because more money has been poured into the league as a result of the Lionel Messi signing. So these are some things we got to keep in mind. And these are things that I'm going to be talking about all summer long. Now, when will Messi play his first MLS game? The expectation is going to be July 21st in the Leagues Cup versus Cruz Azul of Liga MX. And this is if this happens, if MLS waits until July 21st for Messi's first ever MLS game, that will be good, because this is a perfect way to promote the Leagues Cup, the expanded Leagues Cup, and to continue to promote the MLS Liga MX rivalry. Because Messi has more Mexican fans than American fans. Because Mexicans generally, they're more into football than Americans. Traditional football, that is. So if the MLS is truly going to save Messi for July 21st Leagues Cup, very smart move. Give him enough time to get adjusted to American time zone and weather and culture. Just give him a good month. Just give him a good month. So all of this, what I just said in this monologue, is my biggest takeaway for Lionel Messi. And, don't think this is going to be the last monologue. I'll talk about Messi. I mean, as long as Messi is in this league, there's going to be way more monologues to talk more about Messi and MLS in general. This is not the biggest Major League Soccer signing ever. This is the biggest American professional soccer signing ever. And this signing continues to add on a historical decade for Major League Soccer. Remember at the beginning of book 1, what I said? The 2020s is the golden era for American soccer. That means U.S. men, U.S. women, and Major League Soccer. Also, USL, if they don't continue to lose teams, but mainly US soccer and MLS. This is your golden era. This is the decade where more people will watch MLS more than ever before. And Miami being the global city that it is, Miami should never be at the bottom of MLS. It is ridiculous to think a city like Miami, with the amount of diverse culture that's related to soccer, is at the bottom. Should never be. You got a new stadium in the process of being built. It should be ready, I believe, either 2025 or 2026. So they're not going to be in Fort Lauderdale for too long. They should be in Miami either before or during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So now enter Miami CF. When it comes to your playing on the field with the addition of Miami, as I said a couple minutes earlier, it's time to evaluate players. The only two players whose position is a lock. Well, of course, three because of Messi, but we know Messi's not going anywhere. The only two other players whose position is a lock, is safe, is Leo Campana and Joseph Martinez. From here to the summer transfer window, every other player is auditioning for a spot. Because with the signing of Lionel Messi, younger, talented players are looking at Miami, and they're going to give Miami a chance. If anything, they will at least get on the phone call with David Beckham. That's the first thing. They will at least have a phone call with David Beckham and the Moss brothers now. They will at least have a conversation with Don Garber now. Which before, it was kind of like, oh, you got to talk to my agent. But now, young star players are going to start sending the Moss brothers and David Beckham's direct text messages without their agent even knowing. That's what it's going to be like now. Young star players throughout the world are going to start sending David Beckham and the Moss brothers direct text message without their agent even knowing, before them even talking to their agent. Before it was like, oh, Miami really interested in me. You got to talk to my agent. If Don Garber really wants me to play for his league, he has to talk to my agent. Oh no, it's not like that anymore. The game has changed now. And if no change on that Miami roster takes place during the summer transfer market, the summer transfer window, you best believe this winter major change is coming. So that's something that every one of you Miami players need to understand and realize. Even you guys that's playing in the US Open Cup tonight, it'll be most likely it'll be the second stringers and third stringers. You guys are auditioning for your job too, because the world is watching all of y'all now. And the level of criticism is getting ready to increase amongst you players. So you got to step your game up. And you got to step your play up to a higher level than ever before. Because the whole world is watching you now. Inter Miami CF is a global brand. And there's no doubt in my mind, when Sportico and Transfer Market release their valuation numbers, Miami will be top 3. They're definitely going to surpass Atlanta. They're definitely going to surpass Seattle. Will they surpass LAFC and LA Galaxy? That remains to be seen. I don't know yet, but we'll see. It's an exciting time to watch Major League Soccer, and you don't have to be a fan. You can still be somebody who don't give a damn about the game, about the league. That's fine. That's fine. But this is an exciting time to see how this league is going to transform with the addition of Lionel Messi. Very exciting time.